All right, let's go ahead and get started. We might still have some stragglers coming in, but we want to, again, respect everyone's time that's here. Thank you so much for being here today and being a part of the No Code Devs community. We're super excited to have Zapier with us today to present on interfaces and AI chatbots. We have Bryce and Steph from the Zapier team, as well as some others from Zapier on the call to help answer your questions and to help you with anything that you might need help with and for feedback and things like that. Without further ado, I'll turn it over to Bryce, who's going to start presenting on Zapier interfaces and AI chatbots.
Sweet. Thank you, Art. And hello, everyone. So good to be here. Yeah, we can do just a quick intro. Steph, you want to jump in and then I'll say a little bit about myself as well.
Yeah, thanks, Bryce. I'd love to. So, hi everyone. I am Steph. I'm one of the product managers on the Zapier team, focused on our new products and very specifically focused on our AI chatbot based in Portland, Maine. And super excited to talk with you today. So, thank you so much for the invite, Bryce. I'll pass it back to you.
Sweet. Yes. Glad you're with me here, Steph. Gonna be fun today. So yeah, I'm Bryce Vernon. I've been working at Zapier for quite a bit of time, but spent some time building in no code, doing some no code operations, have a newsletter that I publish about it as well. But here at Zapier, like I just build and share what I build to hopefully inspire everyone else to jump in with new products. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me. Oh, can you make it larger? That's a good question. Does that make it bigger? Is that better?
That made it bigger for me. Yes.
Okay, amazing. That was easy. Okay, so cool. All right, so this is just the brief agenda, right? We're going to talk a little bit about kind of where no code has been in this past year and kind of in the past, right? And then a look at where things are headed along with an interfaces and AI chatbots demo and getting into the details there. But before we do this, I'm curious in the chat if you could throw in how long you've been building with no code. We'll see who our veterans are. Just throw it in the chat. If you're brand new, that's fine. 2 years, 5 years, Art's topping it. 1 year, cool. Never, okay. Brand new, love it. Few months, cool. Yeah, Ignacio, just how long you've been building with no code. So, cool. So I feel like a lot of us who have been building with no code, or maybe those who are kind of coming into no code for the first time, there's sort of this thing that may have drawn you in. And it's this idea that no code kind of turns the internet into Lego blocks. I know for me, like I've I feel like I've been building with no code since I was 10 years old. And putting Lego blocks together is just like feels amazing, right? And so with no code, you can like visually put together things that before you just needed code, right? So you've got this like unlimited creativity that's unleashed, like work kind of takes on a whole new meaning and feel, which is so fun. And for all of you who have used no code for a few years, that Zapier traditionally has been the glue, right? Kind of behind the scenes, it kind of sticks all the Lego bricks together and automates pieces. And so that's sort of what it's looked like, right? And if you've been building in no code, that the dream, right, is to have this like R2D2 magnificent no code app that you built, right? That just works just like another no code app. It's like seamless, beautiful. But the reality is that it often is like duct taped together and a bit hard to know. It's fragile. Things like that happen, right? Like it breaks and you're not sure what exactly is going on. I know from my experience, this is totally what it's building is like in no code, right? So there's three things I feel like as a community, we all need when it comes to building. And I kind of narrow it down to these three things, right? We need strength so that whatever we're building doesn't break. And if it does break, we need to know and have visibility into what the dependencies are, like what fields are triggering zaps and automations and where is everything connected, right? But then at the same time, we still want control and speed, those two pieces that make no code so much fun, right? And keep that sort of like heart of the Lego building intact. So to get these things, like what we need to ultimately do is have automation sort of woven into the DNA of whatever you're building. Like it needs to be sort of foundational, right? We live in a world now where like integration with all the different, the sort of expected, right? And we're moving into this world where automation and AI, especially, are critical pieces. And so automation and Zapier no longer need to be the glue, like it needs to be a foundational piece. And so that's what we're really here to talk about is that shift, right? In no code and what's happening. And so I posted this photo a while back, but this sort of visualizes it for me, right? In 2023 and before, like we had all these different apps and they're connected with Zapier as that like orange line, right? The glue. But Zapier's behind the scenes. Now with interfaces and you'll see with AI chatbots, like Zapier is starting to allow you to build things on Zapier and then continue to have that power and control and that speed to extend out to any other apps that you want. So we're doing this by building out new products, like I mentioned, right? Before it was just Zaps, where you're just automating, sticking things together. And then now we're adding additional products, right? So we have tables that's going to allow you to store data, interfaces that give you that front end sort of user interface, like a form or even a landing page, website, and so many other different things to capture data. And then additionally, this like extra product with AI chatbots that allows you to seamlessly bring in AI and the power that we're like all experiencing and connect it into automation and all your systems. So just a few images and then we'll just be jumping in because I want to show you firsthand what this looks like. But if you were to create a no code like lead capture system before, right? You'd have a WordPress website, you've got Gravity forums to actually have people who land there fill things out. You'd send all the data into Google Sheets. You'd connect it to Gmail to send off an email. And before you'd have all those pieces glued together. But now what you're able to do is simplify things and kind of congregate all of your no code activity into Zapier. So you can build out that lead capture form. You can build out a landing page in Zapier. You can have it automatically store into tables and then actually send out an email via email by Zapier. So this is an example I'll show you in a second. We're actually going to dive in and see this live, right? But take another example, an applicant tracker. You have a job posting you want to put out there, maybe on Webflow, and you need to capture applicants. Google Form that gets sent into Google Sheets. You have a CRM with Coda, again, similar sort of all these pieces put together. Now you can start, right, and build all that in Zapier and extend out if you do want to, but at least the foundational pieces for something like a job post and tracking applicants can be done all in Zapier. All right, so enough of talking high level. Let's actually get in and see what this looks like. We'll take that applicant tracker as an example and go from there. So let me hop over, make sure. Cool. All right. So we have a bunch of, just as a quick shout out, like we have a bunch of templates that we're building sort of to show this like new way of no code building with Zapier. And so if you just go to zapier.com/templates, you'll be able to see all of that. And yeah, Marco, the recording, we'll make sure all this is recorded. I think Art will definitely send it out as well, just a heads up. All right, so I went here to this applicant tracker template. And once you go here, it describes what it does and how it works. But if you use Zapier for any amount of time and you have an account, then you can go ahead and just click use template. What this does in one click, right? It's going to create the UI, the pages that you would need for a job post and to track all the applicants. And then it's also going to automatically create the table, right? To store all the data. And then you'll see here, there's a couple zaps. They take just a second to turn on, but they actually turn on automatically and they're already set up. So you don't even need to go into the Zap editor to get started here. And you can kind of see that those apps in the back end, they might update a status automatically when something is submitted. or when an applicant submits the form to get you a notification email. So let's take a look. This is the interface homepage. And so we can just look at what is built out. First, just the job posting. And so you're going to get a ton of different components that you can throw in here. Some of the stuff you'd expect to see from any sort of web page builder. So this is just text you would fill out if I were to create a job, right? And I need some applicants. I just fill this out right here with all the details. And then you have a form builder here. Again, just like you'd expect, you have different fields. You can customize this any way you want, and they would fill it out and at the end actually submit the application. So this is the builder view. Every interface comes with a actual hosted URL that you can actually share out. You can embed this in your website if you do want, but right here, this URL, if I sent it to y'all could all visit this and actually see this in real time. And then after kind of creating that job posting, we have a thank you page. It's simply like after someone submits something, they get sent to thank you. And then lastly, we have this applicant tracker. And so this is pulling data from the table that's created to store all the applicants. And this is where you can move them around in a Kanban view and leave notes and things like that. So let's take a look and actually fill this out. And I'll show you how it all works. So just quickly, oh, my name is spelled with a Y. There we go. All right. Here, I'll just skip some of these pieces. I have 100 years of experience. That'll get me the job. Let's see. All right. So you submit that. That takes you to the thank you page. You'll see here it carries over some of the parameters from the form. So someone would see their name there, right? What happened in the background is that it automatically gets added into the table. What's cool here is that doesn't take up a task in Zapier. If anyone knows, right? Like in Zapier, we price by or bundle our pricing by task. And so that's the currency in Zapier. This gets automatically added. And actually, if you ever wanted to add new records to a table, those tasks are actually free. And that's something we just kind of rolled out. So let's say let's just say you had a Google form as well, just out in the wild. You're like, could use this, but I got another form where people are submitting applications. You could connect that up and send those into the table as well and consolidate all of it. And that would be to create a record in the table. So, all right. All right. So that gets added and we'll look at the actual public view. And so I can take this and update where I want to drag this applicant. I can jump in here and leave notes and save that. Pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy. What's so cool about this is what happens behind the scenes, right? So you have the table that stores the applications. We'll quickly look at that. All the fields you'd expect at the top that would store all of this. The one great note, and I know we're kind of focused on interfaces, but in tables, you can add things like a button that will trigger a zap. I feel like for anyone who uses like Airtable or any other no-code tool, the button to trigger a zap, that's like the one thing that for whatever reason is so difficult in other places. Thankfully in Zapier, it's so simple to add a button like that. You would just literally go in there and add the button and then have it trigger a zap and you just configure the zap in that way. So super easy to do. All right, so that's the table. And then you got the two zaps as well, right? So you've got when the status is updated. So when I drag a card over into a new status, it's going to automatically put in the updated date. So we have that captured. And then when a new applicant submits the form, it sends me an email with the notification. Cool. All right. So, I mean, that's the gist of it. Like I said, what's cool about this is that you can create as many zaps as you want to just further power this applicant tracker, whether you want to take in from other forms, right? Or you eventually want to put this into an applicant tracking system that maybe your team has set up. But this gets you up and running so quickly and then allows you to extend as much as you want from here. Cool. So that That's basically all I was going to show you. I know I ran through that sort of quickly. Well, if you have questions, especially about interfaces, save them in the end. If we want to like jump back in and create something, if we have time, like we can do that as well. But now I think I can go ahead and stop sharing stuff if you want to jump in and take us through AI chatbots.
Yeah, I would love to. Let me just share my screen and get my slides up and going. Okay, awesome. So thanks, Bryce, so much. Hello again. I am Steph. I'm super excited to jump into all things AI chatbot today. I'll give a quick overview of the Zapier AI chatbot live product demo for about the next 10 minutes, and then we'll jump into some questions on both interfaces and chatbot. So keep getting this question ready for us or right after. And then to start, I'd love for anyone that's comfortable to add to the chat if they've incorporated any AI chatbots into their work before, or if you are working on any that you want to in the future. I think one thing I've noticed with AI is that there's so much opportunity for creativity and experimentation. And so I absolutely love hearing what other people are building. And I think it provides some great inspiration for people looking to get started. So to start, what is the Zapier AI chatbot? So it's a component within Zapier interfaces, and it allows you to build your own custom conversational chatbots all without any coding. The chatbots are connected to OpenAI AI models, so like GPT-4, and it allows you to set an objective for the AI chatbot and then have it generate responses based on the query from your end user. So, and this is all without setting up complex decision trees. I'm super excited about the AI chatbot because they allow you to create chatbots with your own prompts that once you set up, you can then have those bots consistently engage in chat conversations using the power of AI to really help create a super engaging experience that is still custom for your company or project. I see folks building chatbots for a variety of use cases, both with external customers and internal teams. This can range from a Q&A bot, to internal trading, to generating content. So there's a lot that you can do there. I'm going to look at the chat a little bit. I want to see what you guys are building yourselves. Cool. Using it to create travel policy and travel procedures. Cool. Yeah, this is great to see what y'all are building with chatbots. Thanks for sharing. Cool. So I'm going to jump into a really quick high level of what it takes to build your own AI chatbot. So it's really three main steps. The first one is going to be telling it what to do. So you're going to name your chatbot, add a custom greeting, give your bot a role. What objective do you want it to fulfill? You can teach it really how you want it to respond, what style, and really set all those rules in your. The second piece, which is optional, you can incorporate your own knowledge sources. So you can add a custom data source that then can help your chatbot really tailor those responses to your project or business. And then you can securely share the chatbot as the third step. So personalize the look and feel to match your brand, and then share it as a link or embed it in your website. You can password protect it. So you have a lot of options there. And then I always find it helpful just to kind of hear some use cases that other people are working on to help kind of inspire what I'm doing. So I'll share the top three use cases that we're hearing from users and how they're using Zapier's AI chatbot. The first is lead generation. So this is all about providing recommendations and engaging users with key information. So it could look like a bot on your website to answer questions about store hours. It could direct folks to relevant blog posts or make recommendations about what packages and pricing that they should look out based on their needs. A support bot, kind of similar in answering questions, but it's really a good way to engage your internal team or external folks in that kind of next layer of in-depth knowledge. So you could create a bot that, has step-by-step instructions, troubleshooting help, internal training, onboarding help, really digging into those details of whatever you are working on. And then the last use case is content generation. So I've seen this one used a ton internally on our team at Zapier, from our marketing team especially. But AI chatbots can really help with your productivity and efficiency in generating content or editing content. So you could create social media generator bots, things to help for editing your Slack messages or getting help with research strategy. So those are kind of the main three use cases that I hear about the most. And it's been really cool to see what people are building. I'll also highlight that when you're getting started, a great way to do that is having a little bit more of a fun use case just to start as you get familiar with the AI chatbots and how you're connecting that to the rest of your workflows. You can do something with a little bit more of a personal use case. So think about creating a recipe generator or a motivational bot in the style of your favorite celebrity. It's a really great way to get familiar with the tool. So I'm going to jump into a live demo to kind of show off the product a bit. So Cool. So this should look familiar based on what Bryce just demoed, but this is our interface builder. So the chatbot, again, is a component that you can add within an interface. So on the left-hand side here, you'll be able to find the chatbot component. You can just drag and drop that on the page to get started. When you're ready to edit, simply clicking the chatbot is the way to go there. You're going to see 4 main tabs here. The content tab is really where you're going to do that first step, customizing how you want the bot to look at the start for users, and then how you want it to respond to them. So you can go in and give your chatbot a name. You can add a prompt placeholder to really kind of gear the user into what types of questions that they can ask. You can go into this section and edit the directives. So this is where you're going to tell the bot, what objective do you have? Is this a bot to generate content? Is this a bot to answer questions? You can give it a bit of context that might be helpful for it. You can tell the bot about the audience that you're working with so that they have that context when they're answering questions, whether this is for your internal team, an external user, if they're technical or not. You can also give it a style. So I tend to like my chatbots to be really structured in the way that they answer. So I often say, hey, please include bullet points and bolding and headers, but you can make this really custom to what you like. You can even add emojis. You can provide different instructions about the tone of voice that you want them to use. So this is very similar to kind of what we will do with prompting, but we have a directive placed there. And then you can authenticate and add in other OpenAI models. So as a baseline, you can connect GPT 3.5, but then you could also connect to other OpenAI models if you have access to those to kind of further tailor the bot. If you want to add in data sources, you can add currently 1 static text file to each chatbot. This is a great place to put in information that is not publicly available online, that the AI models wouldn't be trained on, or that's just really specific to your business or project that you're working on. This will serve as context for the bot to answer those questions from users. We also have actions. So you can add copy buttons. You can connect it to a Zap as well. So you can have a little button that shows up that triggers off a Zap to start. And then you have all of your embed settings here. As with other interfaces, you can go up to your settings and be able to change the branding, your permission settings, all of those kind of like broader settings that you need. And then when you're ready to test, which I definitely highly recommend as you're building your prompt and building the chatbot to go and test it throughout, you just can click this link up here and you'll see the public version of the chatbot. So just in the interest of time, I've kind of already had a pre-conversation with this bot just so you can kind of see the types of answers it can provide. But it's really flexible. So I've asked, what can you help me with? It's able to understand and provide information about the types of things that this bot's going to do really well in answering. You can ask specific questions. So I've asked about a piece of product functionality. It's able to provide helpful information there, as well as links that are in our help documentation. And then templates here, we have quite a few. And so I've put this into the data source and it's able to kind of share those with the user as well. So yeah, I just want to kind of give a quick demo there. I'm going to jump back to our presentation here. Just to sum it up before we kind of go to questions, try our products. We have Zapier tables, interfaces, and chatbot, which you've kind of gotten a preview of here today. I'll also call out that we have Zapier Canvas, which is a current alpha product from Zapier that you can also sign up to get early access to. And we have templates. So Bryce has been building out wonderful templates that combine all of these products. So the link is right here if you want to go check them out. It's a great way to get started. And if you want to learn more about any of these products, I have the links there as well for all 4 of those that I've mentioned, where you can go and kind of see their landing pages and get a little bit of a high level of each of them. So at this point, we're going to jump into questions. And so I'll do a quick introduction as well. We also have Lars, who is a senior product manager who is on the interfaces team, has also worked extensively with Zapier Tables. So he's also on board here to help us answer questions as we go forward. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So we should be good to go.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that presentation. I know I learned some things there, and I've used interfaces and chatbots pretty extensively within Zapier. So that was really great. And I'll just share my experience. We run a no-code tool directory where you can sort of go and find different no-code tools based on category, use case, things like that. But often it's hard for people to actually find the tool that they want. So we uploaded our data set to Zapier interfaces and built a bot around that where somebody could ask in natural language what they're trying to build. I want to build a backend for an e-commerce store, and then it'll actually scan through our list of no-code tools with the descriptions and recommend a product in our database based on our own data, not publicly available data. So very cool. We were very, pleased with the result. So definitely a super powerful platform. There were a few questions that were asked. I know some of them were addressed in the chat, but just for the benefit of the group, I'll just sort of re-ask them here, and maybe you can add some additional context. The first question was, can a form be built with two-step verification process? We get lots of spam and currently require customers to verify their email address when a form is submitted. Can you please advise? I think the answer was that the forms do support CAPTCHA, and you could have set up a Zap to configure a two-step process, for example. But I'll let you add any more context if you would like.
Yeah, I was kind of imagining a method where when someone fills out a form, you could trigger a Zap, and that Zap could send them an email. You could use any email provider that you're connected to Zapier already, or you could use email by Zapier. And then maybe you put a link in that email that verifies that they could click to verify. Yeah, Bryce, I'm not sure if you had any additional ideas there. I don't think I've seen a template for that type of workflow, but it looks like you could apply a solution. I think that's what I would think to do. There's nothing kind of, yeah, it would have to be sort of like a workaround kind of put together thing at the moment, but can see why that'll be super beneficial to look at.
Awesome. Another question was, are you able to paywall interfaces?
So you do have the ability to have like managed users. And Lars, I don't know if you had answered this in the chat already, but if you want to expand on it, I think you did. Yeah, a little bit there as well. And you'll notice a pattern with these answers and with Zapier. It is such a flexible platform. We try to give the primitive tools that you can use in many different ways. And so, just like all of our partner integrations, Interfaces has an integration of its own. So you can add and remove users via your Zaps. So you could have a user fill out a form, maybe requesting access to your member portal, and then you could email them a link that says, "Hey, here's our Stripe checkout page. Sign up here." And then you could use the Stripe integration to get notified when they have subscribed. And then you could send them login information, either the password to the password protected interface, or add them as a managed user, and then they'd be able to log in. So a few different ways that you could go about it.
Awesome. And I have noticed, just being in interfaces, that there appears to be some sort of Stripe integration coming soon. So maybe there's some functionality coming there. Cool. Another question was, are there going to be more customization options for how the interface UI looks? I haven't tried this, but is the chatbot window able to depict formats from Chat GPT's advanced features, such as tables, files, and images?
Well, I can jump into that. So currently the chatbot, you can customize it in the same way that you can customize interfaces. So you can edit the background colors, the colors of the chatbot that will carry through into embedding it as well. If you embed it as a pop-up or in your site, those will carry through. You can also remove the Zapier branding if you want to take away kind of the Zapier logo and customize that more. So you have some of those options there. With regards to what functionality from OpenAI will be pulled into the chatbot, kind of to be determined. We're definitely heavily investing in our chatbot. OpenAI is the parent company we connect with our models, but it's not the same product as ChatGPT. So we don't automatically pull in all of those changes that they have into their interface there. But we're really excited to invest in the chatbot. We have a whole team doing that. We have some exciting stuff coming, I'd say, in the next month or two that I'm really excited that really changes how you build the chatbots. So definitely look out for some of those exciting updates in the future. And with that, we're going to be building out a ton of new functionality. So we hear a lot from people, a couple key themes around wanting to see insights into the chat history, wanting to be able to do more with the data that you're incorporating into your chatbot, as well as wanting to incorporate more things with ties to automation. So we're really excited there, especially with the automation one. We're looking a lot into like collecting information within the chat and then being able to hook that up with the rest of your workflows. This really ties well to like the lead generation use case that we see people using. So being able to essentially have a chatbot on your website, engage with users, get all of their main questions answered, and then being able to kind of take that and get their contact information and put that into your CRM using a Zap, or being able to collect information for a ticket to be able to help them more with your support team. So we're looking a lot into that kind of workflow, which I'm sure ties really well with this group and what people may be interested in. So keep your eyes open in the future for that.
Yeah, one thing I'll add in my experience with interfaces and a Zapbot within the interface, running it on a custom domain, so not embedded within my website, but actually on a custom domain, you're able to add sort of like a nav bar with external links. So if you need the users to be able to go back to your main page or something like that, you can have external links in the header so that it sort of functions like a website, which is a really nice feature. There's another question here. I don't know if this was asked already to no code providers. If you go down, is there a code conversion that may be good that can maybe be coded into C++ or React codes or any programming language?
I mean, more or less, so you just ask, can you access like the code behind the scenes, like maybe like Webflow does, art, if I'm understanding you correctly. At the moment, like we don't expose a way to surface that so that you could go further, but certainly something we can think about. I know, yeah, like Webflow does it and a handful of other tools as well.
Awesome. Hopefully that answers the question. For art, different art than me. Another one, are there any plans to integrate an interface for DALL-E 3 once it's out of beta?
I could take a stab at that. So, as Steph was mentioning, we have two integrations on Zapier. There's the OpenAI integration and there's the ChatGPT integration. If memory serves, the OpenAI integration does have a DALL-E endpoint, so you can send it prompts and it will return an image for you. In interfaces, we don't currently have the ability to display those images, but definitely something we'd like to explore in the future. And so either directly or indirectly, we'd love to explore that, but no near-term plans. But just for reference, I built a Zap yesterday for a customer that wanted to send daily DALL-E generated images to a Slack channel. And so what we did was we built a table with a couple buttons on it, one to create the image using the DALL-E integration and the other to post it to Slack. And then we automated it entirely. So it ran on a schedule and did that every day. So that type of thing you can set up already.
And I just dropped the link to the Zapier integration page that has information about what Lars just mentioned, just for like Zaps in general and how to integrate, in case you're curious.
Awesome. I'm not sure if I missed any other questions, but while I'm looking here, if you have any last minute questions, we have a couple more minutes. If anybody has any questions, this would be the time to ask. Steph, okay, one last question here. Steph, can you show us what a data source file looks like for the AI chatbot?
Yeah, I sure can. I'll give a little bit of context first about how to kind of how it works with the chatbot. So essentially, what happens is when you upload a data source. So right now, you can upload a static text file. So think like CSV, PDF, doc. Any of those work fine. We just read static text. When you're uploading that, we do some pre-processing of it to understand what is the related information within that document. So say you have a document that's all about your company, the mission statement, the leaders in your company, all the products you have. We're kind of chunking that out to understand what's in here. When a user goes and asks a question of the chatbot, we're going to go, and the first thing we're going to do if you have a chatbot that has a data source is go and search that data source to understand if there's any relevant information in there that we can use to help answer that question. So we'll be looking for kind of relevancy matching, and we'll pull up and grab the most relevant information from that data source. We then package that up with the question from the user, as well as your directive about how you want the AI to kind of respond to that question. And all of that sent over to AI to then generate that response for your user. So I guess high level with the data source, it's kind of the cleaner the data you put in, the better responses you're going to get out. Is kind of my high level guidance there. So I definitely recommend making sure that the data and information you're putting in is really relevant to your chatbot, as clean as much as possible, because that's just going to really help your bot understand how to answer this question and us being able to pull that information for AI. With data sources, there's kind of two different ways that you can think about it: unstructured and structured. So think of like a structured data source as like a CSV. So I'll show you that one first. Let me just pull up one that I use. I'll share my screen. Okay, so this is actually the data source for the chatbot that I demoed earlier on this call. So I have a Google Sheet here. And given that I knew the bot was going to be all about answering the top asked questions and answers, I've chosen a kind of a spreadsheet format to be able to put in all of my data. So the way that we read information in a structured data source like this is by row. So when we are understanding information, we're going to associate all of the information in one row together. So if you were to build a chatbot that had more columns in this, it's totally fine. It's going to associate all those in a row together. So say it was about all of your product information. You could have a column that was the product SKU, the product name, the product description, the color of the product, the price of the product, and all those could be different columns. And this type of structured format is automatically going to associate that entire row together as one piece of information when it's sending it over as context. So it makes it really easy for that type of work that you're doing. I tend to, in the questions here, I do everything from a question that I think the user might ask to keywords that I think might be important. It's pretty flexible. And then I just drop in everything from text to bullet points to links that I think will help answer the questions in chunks of information here. I have about, I don't know, I think 100 rows. And then I export this as a CSV and upload that to the chatbot. So that's what I have for the bot that I just built. I'll also show you what an unstructured data source could look like, where it's going to be optimized. So this is a fake data source for not about a company handbook. So think about something for a user onboarding. So the way I have this structured is using double spaces to delineate a different kind of piece of information. This is the most efficient way for the bot to understand what information is related. So for instance, here I have a nice header to kind of tell the bot that this information is all about the mission. And this is all about the origin story. It can be in the same line. It could be right above it. As long as there isn't a double space, it's going to associate that information together and it works really well. You can also do the same thing with bullet points. You can do the same thing with lists. Anything that isn't separated essentially by a double space, it's going to associate as a chunk and send that over as one related piece of information. So yeah, that's what this looks like and how it kind of works in the best way. You can also drop in emails in here. You can drop in links. It's all going to hyperlink in the chatbot. So it's really whatever format works best for you and kind of like the information you're looking to include. But yeah, and in the future, we're looking to make this easier. Right now, and it's kind of in its initial beta phase. This is the implementation, but we have heard from users that having a little bit of less cleanup that they have to do uploading docs is something they're interested in. So in the future, we're going to keep looking to optimize this and make it easier and easier for you to kind of just start building quickly with the information you have. So yeah, let me know if you have more questions about that. Happy to dig in more, but yeah, hope to help.
Awesome. That was helpful to me. So thank you for that. I didn't know, for instance, that a double space in an unstructured doc would separate it in terms of how the chatbot processes it. So I learned something there. I
Of
don't know if
course,
you
yeah,
guys
it
have.
just really helps there when you like a good example would be with like pricing information. People often say like their different plans. They don't always include pricing or plan in it. So having just a header that's associated with each of those custom names for your different plan types, then associate that when a user asks a question, if they're only saying pricing, if you have that extra keyword in there, the bot's going to do a better job of like understanding that relevancy and delivering that to the user. So yeah, that's kind of some of the reasoning there. That helps.
Awesome. If you have time, looks like there's 3 more questions, but I'll try to go through them quickly here. Marcus is very interesting. Need to try that. Here's a small, nasty question. Why Zapier, in your opinion, to compete against Power Apps from Microsoft?
I could
Anyone
take
have
this.
experience, Lars?
Not much direct experience. There's a lot of automation providers out there. You look for what fits best. A lot of people that use Microsoft tools for everything will check out Power Apps first, things like that. It really does depend on what you're looking for. But Zapier, actually, to answer this question and address Art's question a little bit about the no-code piece and about the stability and reliability of a no-code provider like us, like Zapier, and what happens if Zapier goes down type of thing. So I just wanted to share some pieces to kind of address both those questions. Is one, Zapier's been around for a decade. All we do is automation integration. It's the specialty of Zapier. There are some stats that I have handy. Over 2 million businesses are using Zapier for automation and automated 25 million zaps, 2 billion tasks are automated a month. And over the last 12 months, our uptime has been 99.98%. So it's a healthy business. We plan to be around. We'll share a link to our status page so you can keep an eye on it there. So that part hopefully keeps your business up and running. And then on the Power Apps piece, it is what is best for your business. We have over 6,000 integrations now, and hopefully you will find what you need there, including the full Microsoft stack. So they're a very popular integration of ours too. You can even log in with your Microsoft login. So it depends on what you're trying to do. Maybe Power Apps does it, maybe we do it, but we'd encourage you to try both.
Awesome. I remember when you had 3,000 apps, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago. So I guess final question here looks like, can you use a knowledge center as a data source?
Yes and no. So yes, you could copy out the information from your knowledge center into a static doc and upload that. I've done that for the bot I demoed. I grabbed some key pieces of information, just straight copy that to the doc. But no, you can't automatically kind of get that connection and have it connected live. In the future, we're looking to kind of incorporate web scraping. So scraping a website or scraping a knowledge center as future functionality. I don't have a timeline for that yet, but definitely something we're exploring in the future.
Yeah, and I think you just answered another question that came up while you were talking, which is, can you use a website as a data source? Again, this is something that I've seen in the coming soon, I believe. So you're already hinting at it that it might be possible. If you use interfaces or Zapbots, it actually, if you go to the data sources, there's an option for website. At least there was that said coming soon. So sounds like it's something that you guys are working, which is super exciting. Cool. How big of a company is Zapier? Lars answered about 800 and a lot of bots.
Yeah, interestingly, around 800 people across 40 countries. It's a 100% remote company, always has been from day one. And so there never was an office. And so it's been kind of interesting. The three of us are in different parts of the world, as you saw, and our teams are too. So we're spread all over.
Awesome. Well, I think we'll wrap it up here. There's a ton of great questions. Again, this whole thing has been recorded. We will process it and send it out to everybody who registered, as well as share it publicly on our YouTube channel. So you can always find it there, but we will email a link to everybody who registered. So thank you, Steph, Lars, Bryce, and everyone else from the Zapier team who made this possible. And thanks for being a part of the no-code devs community. We really appreciate it, guys.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Thanks, Art.
Great
That's
question.
great.
Yeah, thanks all.
Thanks,
See you guys.
everyone.
Bye.